Good morning, everyone. Don't run away. It's me. First of all, I want to thank the organizers. Apologize for my very rough English. I would like, first of all, to reiterate the honor that represents for me to be once again in Brazil, and especially in Ribeirão Preto. That, for me, is the worldwide capital of agribusiness. I would like to start off honoring Antonio da Silva, a small farmer located in Chapadão do Sul, with just 18 hectares in the heart of the Cerrados. He had to cope several challenges, like irregular rainfall, poor soil, market access, among other limitants. Adopting innovations like biofertilizers, agroforestry, solar-powered macro-irrigation, crop rotation, being part of digital cooperative, he increased 60% in cassava yield, generating more important and stable income even during drought, reforesting and becoming a model farm by Brazil, o Plano Low Carbon Agriculture, Plano ABC. But there are 15 million of small farmers in the Americas, like Antonio da Silva, working very hard every day and don't having the recognition they deserve. The best way of honoring all those farmers and their families is discussing and promoting a new narrative for the agriculture in the Americas. In the next slide, my presentation will be a journey trying to get rid of the old narrative, emphasizing the necessity to put in motion a new one, identifying some pillars of the new narrative, and stressing the importance of a new generation of public policies and new leadership. Talking about leadership, I've been working representing IICA twice in Brazil, beginning my career and ending up my career. I had the privilege of knowing and learning leaders like Alison Paulinelli, Roberto Rodriguez, among others. Brazil is blessed having leaders who transform agriculture, but the work cannot stop, and we need, especially in the Americas, new leaders. I will take later on this issue. Can we move to the next slide, please? Next one. Let me emphasize that we are the guarantor of the global food security. Okay, which one? Is this one? Okay. Let me emphasize that we, agriculture in the Americas, we are the guarantor of the global food security and worldwide environmental sustainability. 1 out of 3 tons are coming from the Americas, and we have a vast majority of natural resources. Despite of these undeniable factors of reality, there is no global recognition. Being self-critical, the region often fails to speak with one voice. There is no unified vision to counterbalance environmental accusations with the evident region's productive, scientific, and ecological contributions. The locomotive of the agricultural revolution undergoing in the Americas is Brazil. 52% of the Latin American and the Caribbean production comes from Brazil, and 40% of the exports come from this country. Nowadays, this country is within the select group of 5 global agri-food powers, jointly with US, China, European Union, India, being at the same time the most megadiverse country in the world. And obviously, Brazil evolved from a net food important country to what is today, which is something very important, an example to be followed in the Americas. But despite of this obvious importance, agriculture is still trapped in an old narrative that leads to a reductionist, distorted vision, placing this sector as the villain in the climate crisis movie. Among several factors that could explain this distortion, I would like to put in first place urbanization process. Latin America is the region of the world that has had the largest urbanization process in the world. Nowadays, rural population represents just 20% of the whole population. This widens the gap between producers and consumers. Urbanization shapes a world where agriculture is judged but not understood, ignoring the unique role that agriculture in the Americas plays in food security, rural livelihood, and the care of natural resources. Another explanation of this old narrative is given by industrialization policies under the umbrella of the import substitution model that prevails since mid-20th century, that put agriculture as a traditional and conservative sector that had to provide cheap foods for not affecting purchasing power of industrial salaries. This led to underinvestment in rural infrastructure and innovation. Worst of all was the image of the sector that does not invest, destroy the environment, and has many social issues not resolved. We have to do something. Time is ripe to unleash a new narrative for agriculture that recognizes the new dimensions and limits of agriculture and agri-food systems. The new narrative should have to be constructive and forward-looking, emphasizing that agriculture is a critical part of the solution. We insist from IICA platform about this point. Recognizing that there is a new frontier of science and innovation that offers unique opportunity to transform our potential into reality. That through bioeconomy, we can give a new dynamism to rural territories. In fact, agriculture in the Americas should have to be recognized as a strategic platform for creating new cycles of wealth and prosperity. Some key elements of the new narrative. We have to be proud of the achievements obtained, but at the same time being aware of the magnitudes of the challenge that lie ahead. We cannot accept having 50 million people in our continent suffering food insecurity or problems related with obesity and malnutrition. We have to rethink agriculture as part of an integrated agri-food system, acknowledging the diversity of agri-food systems across the Americas. Americas is a very heterogeneous region in which, for example, coexist net food exporters like Brazil, Mercosur countries, in which per $1 imported, we produce $10. In contrast with the net food importers country, like the Caribbean ones, in which per $1 imported, they just export 3 cents. What an opportunity. The internal trade in the Americas, in Latin America and the Caribbean region, is just 14%. It's important to pay attention to the Chinese markets, to the North African markets, but we should give more attention to intra-block trade in the Americas. We need to highlight the strategic role of agriculture and agri-food systems from an economic and social standpoint. We also need to emphasize the agriculture contribution to the energy transition. Repeat over and over again that it's possible to produce food while generating environmental benefits. We in IICA emphasize that with bioeconomy can establish a bridge between productivity objectives and environmental ones. Taking advantage of bioeconomy and circular economy is absolutely necessary to develop new productive models. Science, technology, and innovation are driving forces for transformation. Here we have a problem since we are underinvesting in science and innovation in Latin America and the Caribbean. Probably EMBRAPA is some sort of exception that confirms the rule, but in general terms, our region is investing less than $1 per $100 produced. And the only way to be closer to the new frontier of knowledge is investing more, investing better in reshaped science and innovation systems. We need to recognize the central role of consumers and their demands. We have to learn a lot about this issue, and we have to work in that direction. We need also to promote trade as a tool for sustainable development. It's not just a matter of exporting more. We need to export better, with more traceability, and internalizing the environmental dimension. Last but not least, we need to ensure a just and inclusive transformation. All these elements, these 11 elements that I am sharing with you would be key elements for a new narrative. Building a new narrative is an ongoing process that is the result of many meetings, many consultations with a strategic alliance and key stakeholders. Let me emphasize about two important meetings in the institutional calendar for this year. The institutional calendar, first of all, recognizes the importance of IICA's highest body, which is the Inter-American Board of Ministers of Agriculture, which will meet in Brazil next November 3rd through 5. And in that occasion, the issue of new narrative will be presented to all ministers. We have to act together, jointly, obviously, with private sector, with the academy, and this issue will be at the forefront of the institutional agenda. A few days later, during COP30, November the 10th to 21st, IICA will set up the Sustainable Agriculture of the Americas Pavilion and at EMBRAPA's Agri-Zone. And the topic, one of the topics, will be the new narrative in which our pavilion is the result of the public, but especially private efforts, and we will present this issue, the new narrative, as one of the central ones. Before concluding, in order this topic don't be restricted within the limits of pure word, pure semantic, we should take into account two aspects. We have to consider, first of all, a new generation of public policies, and we are working very hard in an interinstitutional way. We're working with World Bank, with IDB, with IFPRI, with CAF, with FAO, to present, I insist, a new generation of public policies that have to be pro-farmer, pro-innovation, pro-nature, working in an interinstitutional way. We are going to present at the ministerial meeting a proposal for reshaping public policy. Equally important, we need a new generation of leaders. IICA has launched a school for leaders for understanding how to transform the agri-food systems and the importance of new narrative. We are doing that, having strategic alliances with many universities in the Americas. This issue is essential for building up a new future for agriculture and rural sector. I would like to stress the importance of communicate, defend, and to assume a collective position. It is necessary to promote a public debate, including this issue in national political agendas, reaching to public opinion. The new narrative must be collectively supported by governments, producers, and civil society. For building up a new future, it is our time, it is the time of a new agriculture. We are in the process of deepening the transformation of the agri-food systems in the Americas, and it is, I insist, our time. IICA is working very hard, and with the support of member countries, the ministerial level, with the private sector, with producers, I am sure we are going to put a new image of the agriculture sector of the Americas. Thank you once again for the opportunity. Thank you.